Hey, Wildcat Nation. Welcome back to Season 3 of Wildcat Week. I'm Micah Roberts, and I'm here with special guest host Brian Weah. The athletes we are spotlighting for Episode 4 are members of our men's football team here at IWU. We have senior captain Jameis Carson and Levi Tidwell, who is a 3-time MSFA All-Academic athlete. So thank you both for joining us in the studio today.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah.
I didn't even know I was 3-time all-conference academic. That's crazy. I learned something
I
about
did
it.
some research.
Let's go.
Big academic guy.
Big academic guy. We love to
Academic weapon.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. What was your major, or what are your majors, any minors, kind of stuff like that?
I got my bachelor's in marketing and management. Currently, I'm getting my master's in business administration. So,
I got 2 majors, youth and pastoral ministry, and then after this semester, I'll graduate and start my master's in practical theology.
And what do you both want to do with that once you're done and leaving here from IWU?
So I would like a leadership position. I don't know exactly what that'll look like, but that's the first part. And the second part, probably later down in my career, I want to start owning businesses. So much stuff I want to do. So,
Yeah, a couple things I've considered. I mean, ultimately for me, the ball's in God's court. And so kind of waiting to see where I can be faithful. But the majority is I have a pastoral calling on my life. And so I want to preach, teach, be a pastor in a local church. I think I want to get into missions for a little bit too. So
That's awesome.
Who are some people that have been really instrumental to your success, the reason why you're here today?
Great question. I just think of the old coaching staff. So nobody knows my story. I'm an old guy on the team, been here every year the program has been going. I had the opportunity just to meet those guys, be a part of the first group, the inaugural season, the first recruiting class besides the first 50. So really just learning more about how I could help build the culture, and honestly being on a new team, how I can honestly play and contribute. So I think that's probably the biggest reason.
Yeah, I'd probably say the majority of the guys that were here before me, I came in the third year that the program existed, and so those guys that kind of laid the foundation of the program, kind of set a culture here to be relational, to have a fun atmosphere, but also to get work done. And so I really enjoyed coming here just to know the older guys, the guys that came in with Jameis.
And when you guys were growing up as kids, was it really just very sports driven? Was it religious, or was it a mix of both?
Super sports driven, also religious also. But funny thing about it, I used to hate sports. Like, yes.
What?
Yes, I used to hate sports. So my parents put me in football. I was bad in school, quote bad, just because I was being a kid. But I was bad in school. One year I stopped playing football. My mom was like, bro, you need to get out of the house. You're getting on my nerves. I'm going to put you back in football. I sucked at football. I hated it. But then I tried it out again in middle school. Ended up loving it. Ended up finding out okay, if I do better in class, I could play. And I ended up finding out I'm pretty decent. So I just kept doing it. But also, I was that faith-based also with my family, going to church every Sunday. When I used to get in trouble, my mom would make me write out verses, things like that. So, that faith-based, but also, football in sports was super heavy in my house. So, yeah.
Bro, what were you getting into?
Bro, I was just in class talking,
Bad
bro.
behavior?
You were
Class
just
clown,
class
diarrhea
clown.
wimpy kid dropped, bro. So me and my friends was like, okay, do this
Yeah.
challenge. You get get 5 points if you do this. So I was just, I was doing it.
Where are you from?
I'm from Murfreesboro, Tennessee, by Nashville. If you don't know, you pass by if you drive through Florida, to Florida, Yeah,
All right.
right before Chattanooga.
All right.
You'll see it intersection.
So my family was very sports driven. I'm the youngest of 6.
Oh,
so
wow.
every single one of my siblings played a sport. I was the lone wolf when it came to football. I had 2 brothers, but they were big into baseball, track, cross country, stuff like that. And then all my sisters were into soccer or cross country, and everybody did swimming. There was a point where my oldest sister was a senior in high school. She was on the swimming team. I was 4, and I was on the same swimming team. And then everybody in between was also on that swimming team. It was sick. But yeah, very sports driven. Everybody did sports. Also, very faith based family. A lot of my siblings remember going to Catholic school, and then we found a church outside of that, and then that's when we really started diving deep into our faith. So,
What was that special game, that special play in high school that made you think, yeah, man, I can compete in college. I can do this.
Bro, you played with some dogs in high school. Tell me about that.
Well, again, most of the guys, people come in and they always say, like, in college, like, oh, you're the guy in high school, and now you're not the guy in college. I was not the guy in high school because I played with guys like Master Teague. Trey Knox is now at South Carolina playing with Ritter. What's his name?
Spencer Rattler.
Wow. So just playing with guys like that, I wasn't the top guy. The same look I get now is exactly what I was doing in high school. I ran my defense, and honestly, I knew my brains. Like, bro, I can run this defense in high school. When I get to college, I can run this defense. And that's exactly what got me here and was the coaches were so impressed with. They like, bro, I have these dudes that's been in the system for a year already with the first 50, and I have this freshman that can already run our defense and probably knows more than anybody else. Like, that was my gift. So I think that was the biggest reason I knew, like, oh, I can get on the board and I can draw up plays. I'm literally the D coordinator on the field, and also I can also play. So it's like a mixture of both of that. That gives me a little advantage. So, yeah.
Yeah, that moment for me was my sophomore year. I think it was the second game that I started. I had 15 catches against a Division I Ohio football program. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, they just went zone the whole time. I had a good quarterback, and we were always on the same page. I was able to find the window. And so, 15 catches was crazy.
Man,
as a
that
15-year-old.
is crazy.
How many yards?
I literally only had like 167 yards.
Sounds familiar.
Only.
That sounds very
10 catches, 190 yards.
So that average is low. Like I'm getting 8 yards a pop and then just falling down.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that was probably the game for me.
All right, so diving into this, how and why did you choose IWU over any other school?
For me, it was just my visit. Like, going to these other colleges, interacting with the coaches. Most of them, I think I didn't really get to interact with the head coach. So I think that was the biggest thing. Coming here, man, I was one-on-one with Coach Langs. Coach Langs was in the whole process. He was talking to me, sitting in his office. Whereas, again, I go to these other colleges like, okay, I'm talking to the corner or the DB's coach, and then I don't meet the DC. I don't really talk to the head coach, and it wasn't really personal. But when I got here, it was super personal. And the school aspect, I knew I wanted to grow my faith. I knew I didn't want to stay, at least in Tennessee. I wanted to get away, become my own person, develop my own stuff. So, yeah, I think that was the two reasons. Just football, knew I would play, meeting the coaches. They were super personal. Know I could build a culture here, and then also know I could grow my faith and grow as a man also. So,
yeah, for me, I was looking primarily for a good ministry program, and so I was looking at different ministry programs, and I would sit down with professors and talk to them about their ministry program and how it was going, what people were doing outside of it, and honestly, like, professors from other schools that were like biblical theology professors were like just bummers. Like,
really?
They were just kind of old heads that like didn't have a super big passion. And then I came here and I met Charlie Alcock. And I was like, this is wildly different. I was like, this dude actually like loves the Lord, wants the youth to know the Lord. And I saw that passion. I was like, I really want to come here. And then I met the coaching staff, and literally everybody was buff. I was like, every single dude on this coaching staff can bench 315 a couple times, like with ease. And I was like, if they're willing to go through the work, like, I want to learn from them. And so that's what impressed me about it.
So with Langs leaving and the entire coaching staff from last year, was there any thoughts about transferring for you guys individually?
I wouldn't say transferring.
You were probably thinking about not coming back more than transferring.
Yeah, I was heavy talking with Ben Farrell like every week, like, bro, what are you deciding? What are you going to do? Like, bro, how are you thinking about it? I remember spring and the winter workout we were running, and I literally brought Coach Locke to the side. I'm like, bro, I'm honestly wondering if I should just coach, bro. Like, I don't know if I keep playing. Had contemplation more in the summer. coaches eventually end up asking me, like, hey, bro, would you like to coach? Do you want to be a DB coach? Literally sat there, and you can ask them to this day. I was literally like, oh, maybe that's my calling, bro. Maybe, like, no physical impact, nothing. I would stop physically. I just get to coach, still get to do what I came back for, help the team. But I think really God spoke through two people. I would say Xander and Neil. Literally had conversations with them, and it was just like, Neil was like, bro, I don't think I could be the same without you on the team. Like, being my last year, you would just help me so much and what you do for the team. So I think that was like a factor, like, okay, I can do way more playing with this team and everything with the culture. And also, in respects to the people that came in the past also, like, I'm that guy. I'm that bridge between the past and Coach Langs and the staff and the guys that put in to build the program, and also the future where Coach Rohde is going to take it and these young guys developing for the program. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think about transferring at all. I mean, I knew that my career, I don't have that many years, and I know that I loved it here. I will have so many people. Not that I would be guilt tripped into it, but I just have so much love for the people here that I didn't want to leave them. So, I mean, and with Coach Rohde coming in and meeting him and, like, understanding what the new offense was going to look like, and knowing that he wasn't just going to bring a bunch of people in to replace me, and to know, like, I'm not just going to be a fullback this year, and I actually get to do what a wideout does. It actually got me pretty excited to play football and stay here, and so I never think that actually crossed my mind.
Also, with your defensive coordinator leaving as well, I spoke with Drake Deshetsky, and he was like, Coach kind of alerted you guys, made you guys think he was coming back, but then he left. So Drake was like, the game was kind of personal for him. Is that kind of accurate for you guys? Did it feel personal as well, or how did you guys just feel about him leaving as well?
For sure. Yeah,
I mean, anything in sports that you can make personal, you make personal.
Yeah, and I think the biggest fact was he left to a team that we literally played the next year.
Right.
So it's just like, all right, yeah, we definitely got that circled on our calendar. That's one thing you don't do. But I think that's just the culture of our program. Like, every year we find, or just sports in general, especially football, you find any little thing, you, like, find a reason to play that team the next year. So, and throughout the years we've been here, it's been, like, little bitty things like, oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, got that game circled. And you just, like, I guess it's just like a motivating factor even more than besides playing the game you love, but also like, okay, yeah, a little chip on my shoulder because our DC left, but like all props to him. He deserved that opportunity, and, it'll end up working out because he's a great guy. So,
yeah. Wait, so after the game, like, did you guys go up to him? What were some?
I didn't find him.
Oh, you didn't?
I couldn't find him. You probably.
I found him. Yeah, what a moment, man. He was just. I think he was excited to see us. But also it just brought up memories. Like, yeah, he was like, man, I miss you and I love you. And I was like, yeah, for sure. And I hope he just wasn't saying that because he lost.
Right.
But like,
yeah.
But yeah, I know me and him had a tight relationship. Like, for these other guys, it might be a little different. But like, I saw him from the bottom. I saw him when we first came in. Bro was literally like, he was younger than Coach Blair or Zach Blair, our starting QB. And like, he literally was probably like a GA. Bro literally just ran downstairs, go grab the laptop if Coach Langs forgot it. Plug it up. And we didn't call him Coach Byer. He was just Byer. That's where it all came from. And now seeing him work all the way to DC, and bro is literally like probably going to be a mastermind in defensive scheme and everything, and just seeing him elevate. I think it was heavy for me, but yeah.
So transitioning into the Rohde era, as we talked about, what has been the biggest challenge that you guys had to face so far since he's been here in the past 8 months?
I'll say Rohde's on the offensive side, so the biggest adjustment was the playbook and the terminology. Last year, it was we're going to draw up a play and you're going to do what the drawing says, whereas Rohde's mind works completely different than that. It's not like we're going to draw it up and you just run a drawing. There's a million things to read, and at the end of the day, play football, get open, and be on the same page as everybody. I think it was way more strict last year with where people needed to be, what personnel needed to do what. And this year it's like we want to do so much up-tempo that it's like the most important thing is lining up fast, and then everybody will know conceptually what they have after that. So the biggest adjustment for the offense was tempo, the terminology. I mean, when you get a new playbook, you have to learn a completely different language. And especially for offense, when you're having 8 to 9 word play calls, you have to learn at least 300 new words just to learn a playbook. And then you have to pair them together to make a sentence in order to see a play. And so there was just a lot of processing on the offensive side this summer and throughout the spring of just understanding what Coach Rohde wanted. And he did a really good job of communicating all that. And so the biggest adjustment was just trying to figure out his offensive brain.
Yeah, and I guess for us, having a coaching staff that was defense focused, their expertise was defense. Now it's flipping. Okay, now we got a head coach that's offensive mind. So now I know we just prepared ourselves for, hey, man, in practice, it's going to be more offense. Like, it's going to be more offense. Like, in drills, it's going to be more offense, built for offensive stuff. We may get cut short of some stuff, offense, So just knowing, like, we may not get that advantage that we usually get in practice. Like, in practice, it's more like, okay, offense get their stuff, but, hey, hey, I favor the defense. This is for the defense. Now it's for the offense. Now it's okay, how do we carry that? How do we keep the tempo up on our own? How do we remain focused on our own? How do we work on our stuff on our own, knowing that, hey, this stuff might be most suited or more specifically built for the offense. So just learning that. And also, physically, he likes to run tempo. He likes to, I've never
play count during practice.
All that. We've never went full gear as much as we went with this guy than with Coach Langs, I think, ever in my career. So just stuff like that, and us being vets, and vets, we talk about veteran days, like, man, I could chill today, But I think he's really challenged me, like, nah, bro, I want to practice every day. Like, if you want to go live, cool, let's go play ball. I love it. Let's go. And just challenging myself, even though I'm a vet, where I could be like, I'm a vet, man. You could just go, young guys go. But no, like, okay, I'm going to accept the challenge. I'm going to go play football and have fun.
Yeah. And then probably culturally, the biggest difference has been we just do a lot of stuff together now.
Yeah.
Like, we do a lot of organized team bonding, team building. Like, the only purpose is just to go have fun, meet the freshmen, and also just dive into your relationship with the other guys. And so before it was kind of just like on your own, and it was encouraged. They did a good job of encouraging it, but now it's more organized and almost like mandatory fun. Like when your family has forced fun and you hate being there, but then once you get there, it's a lot of fun. So just a lot of team bonding, and we just do a lot of stuff together, which is actually, you're seeing the fruits of it now.
Yeah, I'm actually very happy that you brought that up about the new culture and everything like that. So with me being on the team, I understand this a little bit more than the average person would. With the new faith journey that we have taken as a team and that Rohde has implemented in our lives, and just a much stronger and a larger importance on faith, how has that affected you coming into this year?
I say for me, it was cool to see guys lead spiritually that I've never seen us lead spiritually. I mean, we had every single morning in camp in the month of August, a different dude would lead devotions. And there were some dudes where I'd been with them for 4 years, and I never knew that they were that spiritually deep. And to hear them talk from the heart about Scripture, about the Word of God, was really encouraging to me, because I was like, wow, we really do have dudes that are mature in their faith. So for me, it was like we came into this new program where our faith is the center of everything that we do. We don't have a single meeting where we don't pray. And so it was really cool to see everybody kind of rise up and legitimately take their faith serious, and to lead other people in their walks with Christ.
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing for me was just him allowing us to be who we are and who we're called to be.
Yeah.
So for me, everybody knows, at least on the team knows, I'm a big leadership guy and a big motivator. And with Coach Langs, it was like, man, this staff is juice. These are young guys, man, they're ready to go. They can motivate you. But now it's like Coach Rohde's more laid back, like, hey, I got a guy like Jameis. Jameis, hey, you lead this. And I remember, one day we got rained out from our thing, and we just did the try not to laugh. In that small moment, he entrusted me with, running that one thing. And it's just like, he's allowing me to learn and build my skills and the gifts that God has gave me in that moment. And it's so appreciative. And you see him do things like that all the time. Hey, Xander, go ahead and lead this. Hey, Levi, I know this is your gift. Hey, got the wide receivers in this, got the team in this, got the team spiritually in this, and the little things like that. Just like Levi said, seeing other guys do things like that, stepping up. I can think of guys like Neil Campbell that probably, in the past years would never been able or been put in this position or challenged in a position of, hey, lead this devotional, and seeing Neil go up there, even though he may be scared or nervous or, a new experience, he still goes up there and he kills it. And everybody now sees like, oh, that's cool. Neil Campbell, a guy that, All-American eventually, all-conference, all these accolades, or a guy that you may think like, I'm a little freshman, I can never talk to Neil Campbell. And seeing him go up there and lead a devotion, it's like, okay, that's inspirational, and that's cool.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things I would have wanted as a freshman to see, is the older guys lead spiritually and to see the relationship with Christ.
Yeah, just tackling on that a lot more. So what's that like for, let's say, the new freshmen, the transfers, they're coming into this environment where there's a huge emphasis on faith. How have they embraced that? Is it like a culture shock with them? Because they're coming from schools, other high schools where, they probably didn't pray in the locker room. They didn't do devotion. So how have they embraced this?
Yeah, I would give some credit to Coach Roddy. He's really, he'll acknowledge the elephant in the room. He'll just be like, you don't have to believe that Jesus resurrected. You don't have to. But that's not going to change our culture. At the end of the day, you chose to came here, and we didn't lie to you in your recruiting process. We were going to honor God with everything that we did. And so whether you believe that, you're going to experience it. And I think the majority of the guys that I've talked to, we have like family meetings where we get to talk to a lot of the transfers and freshmen, where they get a platform just to share how everything's going. And in my experience, even guys who've come from really secular public backgrounds have, if not loved it, they've definitely been more curious, and it has driven them into a place where they can acknowledge God more, and they can ask questions about their faith and really have boots onto the ground, kind of rubber meets the road kind of thing.
Yeah. And I would say along the same lines, like it challenges you and it shows you a new path, like a different way of living. So like say a guy from, inner city comes here, probably living a different lifestyle, but comes here and you come here and you see maybe people that's been around more longer in their faith, and you see how they live their life. And it's like, oh, that's pretty cool. Maybe I can get to know this guy. And then it challenges you like, oh, maybe I can implement this into my own life. We're praying. Maybe that's something I can do more often. Oh, we're going to chapel. I keep hearing this stuff, and it's like, oh, maybe it starts to, embed into my own life. And now, when I go home, it looks a whole lot different. I may see my friends living like that. And it's like, okay, that's not part of my lifestyle anymore. It's not what I see at IWU, and not how I want to live my life anymore, because I see the fruits of different things. So I think just seeing a different way of life, and also being challenged also in your faith.
Is there a player in particular that you've seen change because of this?
Good question. Not really changed, but I mean, it's a lot of guys that I have conversations with that I don't think I ever would have had a conversation with. So I can think of a guy like Drake. You mentioned Drake earlier. I might say hi about it, Drake, have small talk. But I remember just one day specific, he came to me and was like, "Hey man, can you pray for me? Like, can you pray with me, man? I'm struggling with football, whatever." And it was just an intimate moment, and I think from there it built a kind of foundation for us. Like, not only him coming to me, man, that's like respectful of him. It's like, man, okay, but also me, like, oh, I got to pray with Drake. That's something like I wouldn't have the opportunity. I just wouldn't randomly do. But that's something cool. I think also, man, we went to church seeing like Tay and a guy like Josiah go to the front to the altar to want to be prayed for. Something like, hey, that's something cool. Nobody would think like me and all them to have a moment like that. And it's just like, oh, that's a cool moment for us to have and to share, and always to remember something small like that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a dude. He's a transfer DB where he came to Thursday night football Bible study, and the next day he was like, "Hey, I really enjoyed the event that we had last night. I'll be there every week." And I was like, I never would have expected that from him, just looking outwardly. But he seemed to enjoy it. And all we do there is eat pizza and talk about the Word of God. And that's it. And so it's been cool. I can think of a couple people where it's just like they came in spiritual infants, and then they're maturing and progressing. I can see within every month and every year.